meeting.
Did that on Monday too?
Yeah. We did. Had a lot of discussion too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things just moving so fast sometimes. I would make a motion to recommend the approval of all the CIP project activation sheets.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the CIP project activation sheets as discussed on Monday. All in favor? Aye.
Chair, please sign.
You all the signing.
I can take care of that for us.
Thanks.
YouTube messed up this morning.
Yeah, it froze at 8:35, like. This is where you go, Rich, pull up the agenda and packets.
Yeah, just right there. Agenda, click on that agenda packets document, and then you'll go to today. It should be the top and click on that right there. Yeah. And then,
It's under past meetings.
yeah, it's on past meetings now. Meeting packet.
Yeah. It's the present, but it's technically past.
I didn't realize we approved so many.
Yeah, there were a lot. There were a lot.
I did go through them, but signing them is a different thing.
It is. Takes more time.
Yes.
Time for Mr. Ellerman, commissioners. Yeah, we have a few more business items to do.
Oh, you're jumping in. Okay.
Ready for John?
Just about.
Ready?
Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Ellerman, Public Works. And this morning I bring to you a draft of request for qualifications for the space needs facility, study, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, if you read through the qualification, it was pretty much standard stuff that we put in past ones. What I'm really looking forward to is direction on the scope of services. You have the general project information on section 2, and that is a lot of that is the same information, a little bit expanded in section 10.
The one thing I have, I've got several problems with this, but buildings not owned by the county, I don't think we need to evaluate those spaces at this point.
I disagree. I mean, we gotta evaluate the entire bigger picture, including the ones that we own. Because I don't think the buildings that we own are gonna cover all of it.
Well, we did that back in 2012 and nothing ever happened. I mean, we bought the church building and nothing's happened with that. So, I mean, it seems like, that was a waste of money. And
It was a waste of money.
so, I don't want to revisit that kind of a waste again for our taxpayers. But, and here's the study.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
How many years old is that study?
it's dated 2012. It started from 2007. And of course, what they came up with in their retreat was in 13 was priority 1 was EMS, priority 2 was the courts. And then, which I think that we haven't looked at the court system specifically.
That's in here, right?
And then the new critical need is the fairgrounds. And I would like to come forward with something that we're working on looking at the space that we've got over there that's owned by the county to see what we want to do.
That's included in here too.
I know, but I think those things are the things we need to focus on right now, as opposed to looking at a huge picture.
I disagree. I think you gotta look at I think first we need to evaluate just what we actually need. Maybe it does still fit. I don't know, but we've talked about this the entire time I've been here now for 4.5 years. It's been talked about ever since then. It's been 12 years, and we're just kind of spinning our tires here. I think we need to get back to a centralized point of where we're at right now, what our needs are, both in the present and moving forward. And then start attaching to, do we have what we need in real time? And if we don't, then what do we need to do? But we've got to be able to start somewhere. And this gives us a point to start somewhere.
Go ahead.
What you're saying, we're evaluating other buildings, what?
I don't know what other buildings, unless you're talking about the bank over there, which I don't think is a good idea.
Is that, I
I
didn't
don't
see
know
that
what
in
other
here.
buildings.
Where does that say that we're looking at that?
Oh, it's in number 2. Project will also consist of evaluating existing buildings and recommending most efficient use, and then it may involve evaluating other building space not owned by the county.
Oh, okay.
But that could be any other space. It doesn't have to be, it's not evaluating a specific one.
It says any.
Any. That could be any building that's currently on or off the market potentially at this point in time, which would include what we have. We've already evaluated the fact that what we currently own isn't going to cover our needs currently, which means at some point in time, if we're going to do that, which personally I think is dumb, we're going to have outside space to do that anyway. So we're going to have to evaluate something else in the equation if we do that.
Oh, yeah, but we don't know where we're going as far as employees and space. There's a lot of wasted space in these buildings that could be utilized better.
And that's what this evaluation is to see.
Tell me where. I'm curious on that one. I'm not seeing what you mean by wasted space.
Well, when you do kitchen and bath design, you get down to the inches, but like the space back here isn't utilized, we could, use some space, utilize some space in this building. There are a lot of little nooks and crannies that could be reevaluated and repurposed for people. The second floor, once Russell's business moves out of there, we'll have that whole space.
There's a little bit of space.
So, the fourth floor is, I'm glad we're moving on that.
I don't see where you're in the future, you're gonna fit another court, you're gonna fit space for what Barry's going to need, what that district court's gonna need, what the current other district courts are gonna need. I don't see where you're gonna find all the nooks and crannies to cover that.
Well, and, I know nobody wants to talk about it, but the church over there, we spent close to $900,000 on that, and it's got.
Some of us,
birds.
some did, some didn't, just for the record.
But, that could be, that might be
Yeah.
be able to use for the.
None of us actually did,
No.
yeah.
You were on the commission though.
I didn't vote for
You
it.
voted against it.
Okay. But, that needs to be evaluated too, whether we want to sell it or get part of it and help the courts out with that. There's a lot of questions. I don't mind doing a study. I just want it to go somewhere.
I do too. But I think right now, we've done this for the better part of a decade, and we've definitely done this the time I've been here. And I think for the record, we just need to know where we're at first and what our actual need is, and then we can attach that to whatever we need to attach to, and then find what direction we need to move forward, and then find the resources it takes to do that, because that's the second discussion on that. But if we don't, we got to put the horse in front of the chariot.
Well,
And then figure out how big the chariot needs to be and how big, I guess, the horse needs to be to move the chariot. But that's a whole, it's just one thing, but.
that's true. I'm just wondering, we just went through the whole discussion on the CIP on Monday. And if this should be saved till, maybe at the beginning of 24, as far as
No.
spending more money for consultants.
I don't think it can wait.
And the other thing, basically, I assume that the idea is to start with the last one as the basis. For the new people to look at to get.
I think, personally, I think we throw that one away if we're gonna do something now.
Yeah,
It's
old.
been 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many departments have grown or shrank since that 10 years. If we do it and you have a push to it, I'd like to see it start. See what we actually have now, what we need now,
Fresh, yeah.
and then where we're gonna go, we start all over.
Yeah.
Well, and then it does say evaluating other buildings, is specific ones, or is that just?
I put that in there as a may and a possibility. I didn't want to get to a consultant and start working on their scope of their project work and then say, oh, by the way, we want to look at this building or this.
Yeah, that's what
Or
happened.
we want you to find us some more space. And not have them at least somewhat aware of the possibility. I could take it out, I can leave it in. I'm here to do what you guys would like me to do, or to present it the way you would present it.
Yeah, we want to evaluate as much as we can on that, because I don't believe that what we have on inventory is going to cover it. I just don't. At some point in time, we're going to need some space someplace else, wherever it may be.
Yeah, no, I'm still back to, we need to look at our priorities, and I think courts is a big one, and this
Well-
fairground is really coming up. We've got to really focus on that to begin with.
Is it? It's 1 week out of the year. All this is every day. But let me back up a little bit. I think honestly, what we need to do first is we need to evaluate what our priorities are.
Yeah.
And that's probably another discussion that needs to be had, but this needs to obviously be part of that overall discussion.
Well, how much do we think it's going to cost us?
That's what,
Yeah.
how much did the last one cost?
That I have no idea. I didn't look that up.
Okay.
Me neither.
My guess is John said 50, 60 the other day. I'm thinking probably close to 100. Just knowing consultant prices and what I think is probably lower than what I should be going up.
Yeah.
Is lower than what it actually is.
It's safe to spend that kind of money at this point. Yes.
Well, you're gonna either spend it at the front end to get there, or you're gonna spend it somewhere along the way to get there. Right now, we're just talking, that's all we're doing, and we're not gonna get anywhere doing that, because we already know we're not getting anywhere doing that. And in the process, we're just getting further and further behind, which is also gonna get more expensive. And when you look at the total bigger picture, we've got some things together. We've got EMS and emergency services
Mhm.
well on its way.
Right,
Um,
one thing.
John's taking care about public works. He may or may not agree with that. I don't
I
know.
told Rich I was gonna try to slip that in there.
Yeah.
Maybe you buy it on it, but.
He got my 2 cents on that.
Okay. I think this covers the immediate need, and I'm okay with discussing the fairgrounds and all of that, but to me, that's not the bigger priority than everyday operation and admin.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. But it's really tough to,
And the museum has expressed some interest
they
in
have some.
expansion. There's other groups and other entities that will be involved in that discussion, but I figure they're going to discuss that, and that's been discussed as a need. You might as well include it and do it all at once. I don't know what Julie's specific needs are at the health department either, but that's been discussed along the way too. So try to cover as much of it as you can all at once. And yeah, I'm not excited about spending $100,000 on this, but I think in the long run, it's probably the best way to go to get to some direction.
To me, part of the building evaluations are, if we, get to that point, we do evaluation of the building, which buildings are worth holding on to, which ones are probably in need to get rid of. I have issues with in a couple buildings that personally I like to get rid of, but maybe not, the fixes may not be as bad as they appear to be at first.
Yeah, this is deferred maintenance. We've got a lot of that going on too, like this building, the lower level, Rich has talked about the moisture, that kind of thing.
The
Needs to
windows,
be- The windows, that needs to be addressed, because those,
the roof,
yeah.
the nature.
And so do you do that now? You do that after you know what you think you want to do with this.
But
I mean, I would put in $1 million worth of windows. If we're not gonna keep
It's not long term.
Right, but we're gonna spend, $400,000 up on the fourth floor and probably put windows in there or that kind of thing and fix the roof. And, so there's a big expense there. Do you just what do you do with it if we decided it's not feasible?
Well, I kind of think we're maybe jumping the gun on that one a little bit, but.
Even if we're selling the building, it's gonna be more valuable with a new roof and maybe not all the windows, but
You do get a little bit of a return on investment.
you get a little bit of that back because people are going to look at it. It has a new roof on it.
And this goes through an actual bidding process too, so if it's even higher than
This
what we're kind of estimating to point right.
This is not, I mean, technicalities, I guess, to say, we're not gonna bid the consultant.
Okay.
We're gonna pick the most qualified and then negotiate cost.
Okay.
Different than bid, they don't like to be bid, they don't like their service bid,
Okay,
which is why the qualifications, rules along.
but no contracts being signed today for a dollar amount that still has to be decided, so still a process of coming back and saying, no, maybe this is too
Yeah,
high.
it comes back at 250.
Yeah, then we can just say no.
Well, it does say solicitation RFQ will be placed on the Mercury and Raleigh County website.
I have to advertise to
Yeah.
get,
Okay,
I just get people to respond, yes.
Let's just get qualification statements. It's not to sign any contracts. And your dates are all lined.
Yeah,
When we are approved, then we'll work the dates in there
Okay.
to fit.
I was wondering about that too.
The yellow highlights were for me to come back and fix the.
It sure reminds you to go back.
They don't look any better than the green does.
Not when you
I bet
print
it being a Cardinals fan, that'd be red.
That looked even worse.
Okay.
On the computer screen, it looks really nice.
it. Right, yeah.
but.
I like what we have listed in terms of what we need to be focused on. Yeah, cost of this is obviously a concern, but we've got to start somewhere. We've got to start analyzing those needs. One, it's not going to go away. And two, I'm of the opinion that even with everything that we own, we don't have enough space. So we are going to have to evaluate something outside of our current inventory. It covers all that. And it covers basically everything else that isn't either in the works or currently taken care of. And I think that's the key.
Well,
And I have a little bit of questions on the fairgrounds and Potter too, because we need somebody outside to tell us what we need there. I mean, I think the people who use it, I don't realize that's who they contact, but I mean, we've had task force looking at it, and we know what needs to be done and whether we have the money to do it. I'm not sure that's, that was my question. Whether that
Needs to be on there.
whether we need someone outside to do that, and we've got an extension and we have our own evaluation, what needs are there.
yeah, and we could maybe look at the property and see if we need to move some things or add some things, and from what we do own, that's what I'm concerned about when we go through, what's going on, what the city wants, what to do, where are we as far as maybe reorganizing.
Well, I'm of the opinion that I'm going to reorganize it based on what we need,
Well,
not
yeah,
what another
that's-
entity needs.
Well, yeah.
If we can configure it to where it works for everybody, that's fine, but if we're using it for fairgrounds or we're using it for that specific purpose and we're repurposing it for that specific purpose, that's what my focus is going to be, not to make it do this, or this. I'm not playing Legos or Tetris here, sorry.
Well, I agree with that, but we don't have a plan.
Yeah, I know.
That we want to use the whole space, which is.
But at some point in time, you've got to put something into the equation to develop a plan. This would certainly do that.
Yeah, I know we're getting into Clancy's time. He has an important executive session. I know this is the main subject of discussion at the next county officials, because I was not at a department head meeting with this was robustly discussed amongst department heads that were there.
Okay.
So maybe it'd be good to hear some input from them and their concerns. And since you're not, doesn't seem like you're totally in agreement on which direction you want to go or what y'all want to include, but I know department heads, at least at that meeting that I was not at, had a lot of robust discussion. I have encouraged them to relay that to you.
So maybe we should table this until after that meeting.
It's coming up soon, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like.
No, it's next month.
It's November.
It's right before
it's in
Thanksgiving.
November, I think.
November, a week away, yeah.
Yeah, it's close.
Or we can discuss for the next half hour if you guys think you can get it figured out in the next half hour.
County official luncheon's on the 13th.
Weeks.
I mean, let's think about it. You know what everybody's going to tell you. We need space.
I
I mean, you can get into the details of it, but you know what they're going to tell you.
Well,
I've been listening to it for 4.5 years. I can sit there through an hour-long meeting. They're going to tell you exactly what we already know. So either we can sit here and talk about it now, wait till the 13th, have the same discussion. We can have it whether we do it today or not. But we already know what's going to be said. So
well, we don't know. I don't know for sure. Maybe you do. I don't.
I
know
do,
for sure.
because this is not, it won't be the first conversation I've had. I've been listening to it for 4.5 years. You
Well,
can't sit there and honestly tell me that you don't know that that's what's going to be
Well,
said.
No, I
Okay.
can't. I'm not going to prejudge it. I'd like to hear from them.
You talk to the department heads, they told you this.
We need to wait till after the county officials meeting then
And
discuss it more, just to make that I don't know if there was any topics on that yet.
this is one of them, the strategic plan buildings,
Okay.
yeah. And you're right, that's what was said, but was also said is if you're not gonna do it, don't waste our time.
To me, it's a waste of time waiting then. You need to get going on it quick, just
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, John. That's
We've been talking about it for 4.5 years since I've been here.
Oh, and
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's 2 weeks, but come on. We know we have to do this at some point in time.
well, we need to do something, but I want to hear from the department heads.
Have you not heard it over the last 2 years?
Various things,
Okay.
We've also gone through a pandemic and, a lot of, things have changed a lot. So,
But the need for space hasn't.
well,
The need to figure out where to go and how to do that hasn't. Which means at some point in time, we're still going to have to do this. I'm not jumping up and down about it. I'm not excited about it, but I know it's part of the process, as painful as it is. If you want to wait for 2 weeks, that's fine, but I feel like we're prolonging what we really gonna have to do. And I'm more willing to listen to that from everybody, regardless if we do it today or not, but we're gonna have to do it at some point in time. That's the reality.
well, let's table it till we have the meeting.
Leave that.
Okay, so we have consensus to wait until after the county officials meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Next, commissioners, you have executive session with Mr. Holman.
You need to. We're gonna have 15 minutes, but if we stay on task, it'll be till 9:35.
How much time do you need? Yeah, 9:35. That gives you 10 minutes.
Yeah, we really need 20.
We need 20.
Okay. Do 20 minutes.
I'm the 9:35 and I don't have a whole lot. I just need to give an update. So you can have my 5 minutes.
Well, they're going to take.
We're gonna take more than your time.
Wait, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, we help me out here.
Yeah, I'm trying. Till 9:45, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Next movie finish the business. I'll go ahead and move that the county commission, including Chairwoman Cokie, Vice Chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley, recess into executive session on performance matter of non-elected personnel to protect the privacy of the employee and exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. With Clancy Holman, Bradley County Counselor, Attorney for the Commission, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resource Director, and Michelle Reed, Payroll and Benefits Specialist and HR Associate. The open meeting to resume in the County Commission chamber at 11:45 a.m.
9:45.
I don't need that.
That's a long time.
Spoken like Sandy Lowe's executive.
Good one.
Oh, yeah, 2 hours. I don't think we can take that. Francis. I don't think.
That was the challenge.
Okay, we have a motion.
A second.
Okay, so, it's been moved and seconded to recess into executive session until 9:40.
Okay.
Okay, move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded, the board come out of executive session, all in favor? Aye.
Also move that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
Second.
So moved and seconded that the record should reflect that consensus was reached during the executive session, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. Nothing else.
Right.
We'll do that, right? Thanks. You got a minute?
You bet.
Sorry.
Sweater weather. Yes. Just yeah, yeah.
Have a minute, you just want to wait for Shelley's time and then do business at the end of the meeting, or how do you want to proceed, Chair?
Uh, let's do Shelley.
Okay. Shelley, you're up in 30 seconds.
All right, I have 950 up here. You have 950.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, maybe we can make this quick so you can make up some of your time. This is something you've seen this before in some of our other projects, but there's a Kansas statute in sewer districts. If there is a 10% more increase in estimated costs, we have to have a feasibility public hearing to make sure the project is still feasible. And so with Keats, as you know, that's a project that we've been working on for a number of years. since between our two, there was a 2021 cost estimate, and then we have one recently, and that has increased depending on the project from a range of 13% to 18.5%. So that's triggering the need to have a public hearing on feasibility. And so what I'm coming with you today is essentially just a request to go ahead and schedule that for November 16th at 11:05 a.m. What we would do if you agree to that, as well as there are notice requirements, we will mail out notification to the residents that are in the district and the property owners. And then we will put notification in the newspaper as well. We'll have a public hearing. And then just like you did for Lakeside Heights University Park, you will have a discussion and determine whether the project is still feasible based on input from the public hearing, based on input for pricing and any other information that you guys think fit. Do you have any questions? I provided some numbers that you've seen. Just a quick, I guess I want to point out that there were originally 3 options or 2 different types of lagoons. One of those has been dropped due to issues with like KDHE and those kinds of things. So that's why you see 3 options originally and only 2 now.
Which 2? Which 2 and 3 originally? Which ones?
So the 3 original ones, what I know is, so there was a discharging lagoon, a non-discharging lagoon, and then the connection to Manhattan. And one of the lagoon projects is what got dropped. I'm not 100% sure which one.
Discharging.
It was the discharge.
And that's the one that, thank you, Amanda. So we had talked about that. That's the one that's been dropped from the consideration list because it just really wasn't a feasible project.
The concept was KDHE was never approved.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. So that happened, I think, before my time here, but that's my understanding is that KDHE has been moving away from those types of lagoons, so they're really hard to get approved at this point.
And I think we had one at one point about an irrigated system and at that, where you could irrigate out of it. I think, John, you may remember that. That was a long time ago.
So yeah, that's part of the option. That was part of the option.
Yeah, that was part of that. It was eliminated.
I've got a small plant at one time too.
Yeah. Well, that would be about the same.
Yeah, that's not need to have another meeting, but I know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, we did present this to them at that one meeting, but it wasn't publicized. I mean, it was to the people, but it wasn't a public hearing. So
this would involve the entire board and it would involve the notification requirements under the statute. And so it'll be a very probably similar discussion as to what was had at that meeting. So it shouldn't be a complete surprise to the residents out there. They've heard some of this information. So hopefully that will help the discussion. They've had time to digest that information.
then we have a couple asterisks we're going to do too, so they understand what we're talking about. So,
Increase in this is almost getting to the point where it should change that that percent rate for USDA loan on it. Are we fighting that percentage of what's that level to get funding, poverty level?
Oh,
Has to be-
so we submitted our USD application by September 30th, so we don't have to worry that we have to do a new income surveys or anything. So we're already under the golden threshold. And I have to tell you, I don't know what it is off my head.
Well, I'm looking at these numbers and thinking maybe it's in our best interest to do a new income study at some point in time.
We can try, but that's obviously, I mean, we can't. It
So-
just takes time and we don't know if we're gonna have the same results that we did before. And we might be coming down with full through USDA.
There's just no win with this damn project. Just not.
Mhm.
There's no win with this damn project. Just,
It's been difficult.
yeah. So we want to go having a public meeting.
That's.
Yep.
Go ahead with it, the board, set a public hearing date for the feasibility of the sewer project for November 16th, 2023 at 11:05 a.m.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. The board will set a public hearing for the feasibility of the Keats Sewer Project for November 16th 2023 at 11:05 a.m. All in favor?
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Sean.
Commissioners, want to proceed with business? Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
or do you want to get Vivian? Vivian, do you need to leave?
She's on the schedule.
Oh, she's on the schedule. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, that's good.
I appreciate it.
Need a motion on the certification of voting delegates and alternatives. Okay.
Business meeting is, I'm not going to get down there till Wednesday morning. So probably work for me.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna get there till late Tuesday night. I've got an event here in town with the professional engineers. So I don't think they're doing anything until Wednesday morning. It's Wednesday morning. 9.
I had that schedule printed off and left.
Oh.
I got it in the office as well.
Give me a second. I've got it here. Just give me a
Yeah,
second.
okay. I think they had a business meeting
It's right after breakfast. It's like
Tuesday, I think.
8:30.
on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, they do it early.
Yeah, it seems like it's getting earlier and earlier every year for that too. I think it's like 8:30 or something. It's Tuesday, it's the Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
Annual breakfast meeting will start at 7:30. 7:30,
On Wednesday morning.
correct.
I can't get there by that time. I have to leave here at 4.
7:30 Wednesday morning.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I guess that eliminates one. Paper, rock, scissors, flip a coin.
Here.
Liberty death
Are you
match.
gonna go down Tuesday night, Jerry?
Tuesday.
Really? Or is it Tuesday?
I'm feeling strong today. What the hell?
Stuff starts at 10 o'clock.
Okay, okay. And you're gonna be there Wednesday morning?
Yeah, I'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Traditional Indian leg wrestling.
So.
Feel pretty good about that. My leg's pretty strong these days. Do that.
Gotta be there early.
There's plenty of floor space right there.
I think it'd be good.
But we make the mercury.
Make sure.
You just turn off the TV camera.
Yeah, we might make national news.
No, I'm gonna need that.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, if you want me to do it, I can do it.
Do it. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got to practice. Holding up cards.
So will John be the first alternate then?
That's fine. I'll be there for the business meeting, but I think I'll be getting in late Tuesday night.
Who will be your second alternate then, commissioners?
I'll practice my exercises too.
You have to have a first and a second, I guess I'll.
That's what they asked for. Catherine will be the second.
Okay.
Okay. First,
Can you get that motion, commissioners?
Yeah, that motion.
One second.
this, that's fine. It's been moved and seconded,
That motion. That motion.
about that motion about the alternate, the delegates and the alternates for the KAC meeting. All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, simplified it for you.
It's too simple.
Okay, next commissioners, I have Raleigh County Personnel Action Form, John Christie, Information Tech Specialist, Separation of Service, Margaret McGehee, new hire, Election Board Worker, Natasha Johnson, new hire as needed on-call juvenile intake and assessment officer, Sarah Whitebecker, new hire as needed on-call juvenile intake assessment officer, community corrections, and Chesney Randall's, a new hire as needed on-call juvenile intake assessment officer, community corrections. All three signed, please. A lot of them.
Let them drop there.
He's gonna have it. You're gonna go on.
Commissioners, any changes to the minutes?
Saying nothing, I'll go ahead and make a motion then to approve the minutes as written from the October 23rd meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the minutes as written from October 23rd. The Board of Riley County Commissioners, all in favor?
Tentative agendas with commissioners.
Okay, with the tentative agendas, I need to talk about something in November, however. 27th. You got it down for department head evaluations in the afternoon. I won't be here. If you want to do them, that's fine, but I won't be here. I'll be still home for Thanksgiving.
When is that?
November 27th.
I think if I've got a plan right, I'll be coming back the following day.
Yeah, we can get that changed.
Okay.
No, you want to be here for that.
Well, you can do it. I mean, I'm not saying don't, I'm just.
So would we have extended one on the 30th then, or what was when we make that up?
Yeah. Look at
We
what's
spread it out over several.
Spread it out.
We've got till the end of the year, right?
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I mean, 2 votes, we could change the entire process.
He's not suggesting that.
Like eliminating the process.
I didn't say that, I just said you could change it, there's all different types of things here.
Commissioners, you ready for Vivian and Steve?
Yeah.
Do the next one over to Vivian. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Steve Shirley, with Ryan County Appraiser's Office, also part of the Employee Day Committee. Vinny and I are excited to present the overview today But before we dive into the slides, I did want to just say thank you to the Employee Day Committee. Several of the members are here, and in your memo, you can see the full list of names, but we've got good support here. So we held our annual Employee Day on October 9th, which was Columbus Day. And what we initially planned for was about 250 employees. We didn't necessarily take attendance, but like the door, but with our lunch orders, it did give us an estimate that a number came in at about 235 folks. So that's about a 94% attendance rate. So I consider that pretty successful. The day consisted of 5 training sessions, which we'll dive into a little bit here later. Service awards, Reach Employee of the Year, and team building activities. Later in the afternoon, which included blocked, bowling, axe throwing, A&H farms, and just a different variety of activities. So one thing I kind of wanted to point out is did find ourselves running ahead of time, which was surprising. And kudos to Vivian because of her quick thinking. She started to bring people forward to introduce themselves. And it actually turned out to be kind of a fun activity. A lot of people, on both ends, new and those that have been here a while, to kind of introduce themselves. And in all honesty, who knows, we might actually plan it next year. But so anyway, that was kind of a fun thing I just wanted to kind of point out. So
Yeah, I was so surprised that worked. I was just desperate that we had time. So I started tagging people to go up, and people expressed some gratitude to meet new faces. We hear that feedback usually in some form every year, that they want more awareness of new staff or people in other departments they don't see very often. And this really is the only time during the year that we all get to come together as a group and kind of get on the same page and interact in a less formal setting. And we get a lot of positive feedback about that working well for folks. And Stephen, I can attest, and all these people sitting here, a lot of work goes into this, and we hope people get a lot of value out of it. A lot of positive comments, like I said. Appreciated being able to network and gather together and kind of get on the same page, learn some new skills. People liked the location. We had a few hiccups. We were the first event of this kind to take place in AMC theaters. There were really only 2 locations in town that could accommodate a group of our size for this purpose. This was a less expensive option and had the better seating. So we already had some discussions with the general manager there and the vendors that we use to improve it for next year if we continue to use this space, which is going to be our recommendation. We're kind of just looking for direction from you guys about that. We don't have a motion that needs to be approved, but with those few wrinkles ironed out, I think this starting the planning process, knowing where we're going to be, so we don't have to go through that again and kind of not waste that time, but spend quite a lot of time on that. If you guys agree that it was a great location, we liked it and we'd like to pursue it for next year. So keep that in mind. And folks like the food is always a big deal. So having soda and snacks and popcorn during the day was really important. We're going to incorporate some healthier snacks as well. We got some feedback about.
Don't be listening to that.
Yeah. Celery sticks left over at the end of the day, but they will be there as an option. And some granola bars and fruit and such, just for those folks who are like, I don't know if I need another donut, but it's there. We'll see. But it was a big hit. So.
Kind of dive into the day. So this year's theme was Everyone Leads, based on the principles outlined in the book of the same name, which we handed out earlier. And it's promoted, distributed by the Kansas Leadership Center. And the person that attended was Ed O'Malley. He was our keynote speaker.
One of
And
the
it's-
authors.
Yeah, one of the authors of the book was the keynote speaker. Yeah, exactly. We also offered 100 physical, 100 digital copies to employees before the meeting. So then when they were going through this training, maybe it would click a little more for them. Several department heads as well as staff at the health department have, in addition to reading the book, have attended focused training sessions with the Kansas Leadership Center as well to further staff development. So it's not only here, but it's kind of continuing. So, and just kind of a quick summary of the results, or did you have anything to add? Okay. So here's kind of just a breakdown of that session with Ed. And as you can kind of see, overall pretty decent. Which vast majority was good, 33% average, about 12% excellent. You had some poors, some very poor, which again, with any situation like that, you might have some of those naysayers, but overall, it was a success with this session.
And the concepts in the session, Elizabeth may want to talk a little bit more about, but we're trying to explore and find some smaller group training and some sessions for department heads and other groups to attend. But the overall theme is that everybody can be a leader. You don't have to be in a position of authority to be a leader, either in your position, in your work group. If you have good ideas, if you see something that should be improved, we want you to take ownership of it, take responsibility. And if we have an entire organization of people who do that, we'll be better able to serve the public and better able to just improve in what we do.
Actually, Josh is researching a grant option that would allow others to take some more focused study on those things. So we're going to discuss some options with Rich and then department heads and see how that turns out.
Another session we offered was from Phil Hayes with the Arnold Group. He showed a presentation about the employment market and outlook, which we all know has changed pretty dramatically over the last several years. Change has been happening, evolving since, I first started the workforce many moons ago. But we now have a before COVID and an after COVID concept of the workplace. So how do we change with that? How do we become the most effective and efficient organization that we can? What does real supervision, what does real leadership look like? How do we adapt in meaningful ways? So Phil shared some ideas about that. Some of the feedback we received was that people are going to steal some of the supervisory stuff from the Arnold Group, and they found several tips from supervisory training helpful, which is what we want to hear.
Maybe you'll touch on this a little bit, just to kind of, again, dive a little deeper. So what were some of the changes that folks were going to do from these first few sessions? So you can kind of read the quotes there. I'm going to encourage my staff to exercise leadership in their area of the office. I want to see them rise to the occasion and take ownership of their responsibility. I will lead by example and take a team approach to change. Keeping in mind the productive zone of change and not being too hot or too cold and implementing that change. I think kind of the key thing on this was this type of training is a cost-effective way of making an impact on the organization that not only works now, but hopefully will compound over time. Not only makes us more successful at serving the community, but in my mind creates a culture that will allow people and want them to be here, want to stay. So those are just a few things from those first few sessions there. So kind of later morning and the afternoon, we had kind of more of the hands-on training. So Riley County staff offered 2 hands-on trainings as breakout sessions. Both, like Vivian kind of touched on, are very popular, very well received. Kind of want to make a note here too that Clancy would like me to remind you, we did obtain written permission for the fire department to so that was good.
Thanks, Lindsay.
I didn't remember nagging you about that.
Say the word nagging either.
It was implied.
Remember a few emails to Russell that said, wait a minute now. They're gonna do what?
So yeah, as kind of survey data points out here, quite a few people mentioned how much they did appreciate hands-on training. There's many positive comments. Not everyone filled out the survey, but these results, from those who did, you can kind of see, CPR, 86% excellent, 14% good. The fire extinguisher, 15% excellent, 43% good. Our guess with the 5% average is either they didn't get to shoot off the fire extinguisher, or perhaps they wanted to start the fires. But they weren't. So that's kind of why I was able to average there. But
So I do want to mention, there's actually a little breakout from this. So Josh and his team offered the hands-on CPR, and they really feel like it's such a quick and easy training that it doesn't really fit in the time span for employee day. And we're hoping to actually offer it quarterly to all employees at Riley County. He's got the staff and the ability to do that. And so we're working on a plan to just be able to offer it to employees regularly.
exactly, that was kind of a yeah, no, that's excellent. That's
She told me I was supposed to jump in, so.
So, this is again, just kind of follow up, quote, from the survey, just a few more. So, I think this is from the transfer station that mentioned, they'll be ordering some additional supplies for our emergency kits and feel confident that we'll know how to use them if necessary. One person mentioned, I know how to use a fire extinguisher properly now. Myself, I've been interested in different codes, the A, B, C. I didn't realize that. And then another person mentioned I have bought a tourniquet for my homemade car.
So in real results, we took one day out of our lives and invested some time, money, and resources, and people are making actual changes to their lives that now, some of our facilities are better equipped. If they have an injury out there, there are folks working with heavy equipment, with chainsaws, and now we've got staff, I'm going to knock on wood about hopefully nothing ever happens and they never have to use it, but now they're better equipped both at work and at home. So just, I don't know, I am encouraged by those kinds of examples of real actions that are being taken just based on this one little day of training. It seems it's far reaching. Another thing that really got a lot of great reviews and I enjoyed, I attended the Prioritizing Mental Health in the Workplace session with Felicia Glass, who I want to be my friend now. She was dynamic. She was the only one who did not use the PA system and the one that said they could hear the best, which are both great things. Yeah. She walked us through some really practical tips, and we all know folks struggle kind of all over the world with mental health. We are in a mental health crisis we often hear on the news. So these are really practical things and reminders to folks that, okay, are you getting enough sleep? How do you expect to go to work and be productive and be successful in your job if you're not doing that? And there are things that we, on some level, we kind of know, but having somebody walk us through like, all right, it is okay to prioritize your health and your mental health and your well-being. And then that means you have more to give. So I really enjoyed her presentation. She got excellent reviews. During the 2-minute meditation, someone fell asleep during meditation. It's kind of appropriate. So it's all right. I had a good laugh. Back again to those, the real takeaways. One person said, I'll make an honest effort to take better care of myself. I hope that's true. I hope it's not just something that they said, it's something they took to heart. Other folks said they became more aware of their health. They're rethinking self-care and mental health. One person said, I will do a better job of prioritizing my mental health and taking additional steps to ensure I'm taking care of myself so I can be the best for others and give my best at work. So for one little session, we had less than an hour talking with her, real results for our workforce. Things to improve. We always have to talk a little bit about that too. And again, we had a few hiccups that were mostly technical difficulties. Coffee wasn't ready, and I'm glad I did not get injured and need EMS services since I was kind of responsible for it got a little touchy there. the wait time for lunch, and a few people said, you know, I don't really want to eat lunch on my lap. We've talked to, like I said, we've talked to the general manager. We're gonna have some different menu items, some salads, some pizzas, not everything that needs a grill. So hopefully they can spread out this large order and have more prompt service. We also have the option to send people to the food court, take their little box lunch and go sit at a table and eat. That's something that's really important to them. So we've got some workarounds and some solutions to make that better.
And for the coffee too, you had a good feedback on that.
Elizabeth marched me right over and we had a talk with the vendor who was, you know, this was also her first catering experience. And she was really committed. But there was a bit of a learning curve. And we're going to talk with her again about a few months before the event about logistics, make sure that's all in place. And we really want to work with her again. The coffee was delicious. But we need a little bit different level of service. And I think she understands that. Sound, we have our own PA system, like you saw at the Leonardville grand opening with that big old speaker, and that's what we'll bring next year. And then again, somebody wants celery. We'll give them celery. Steve, did you have anything to add? Sorry.
I don't like celery.
And apples and.
I'm poking fun, but yes, I don't really like celery, so we'll have some other things.
Yeah.
I was bouncing off the walls. I had more soda that day than I usually drink it a year. So.
And Cobb salad is going to likely be an option salad as well. So some different good stuff.
Yeah, we want our employees to survive the meeting. But, and then some more, hype it up a little bit more next year. I was sick that whole week leading up to, so I missed some of the things that I had plans to do, but we'll get there on, you know, little bits of improvement, overall success, team building. Oh, it's me too.
Yeah, you do.
Well, in that case. So another important element is that those separate department team building activities, we had a variety this year, including a visit to A&H Farms that a lot of people took advantage of. Locked room, board games, some painting projects. Department heads get to pick what they would like to do. We offer kind of a menu of options that they can choose from, but if they want to go play yard games like EMS does, they go out and do something meaningful together as a group that is not the typical work and gives them the opportunity to make new connections and, you know, hopefully strengthen some relationships. So that's something we're planning to continue. It might look a little different. We've discussed a few different options and we'll continue that discussion throughout the year. But we consistently get feedback that folks want more opportunity to connect, which is a great thing because when you're in the trenches, you're working for the person next to you, and we want to make sure those relationships are strong.
Just getting outside the office, I think is big, you know, just seeing that more personal side of someone versus the professional side, I guess. So I think that's important. But so some suggestions, these have kind of already been touched on. You know, make the venue decision earlier, you know, given, like she touched on, given our size and the expenses of other sites being a little higher, the AMC Theater seems to be a pretty good bet. But we are open to any other locations and that discussion from the board or staff. But again, all indicators are pointed to AMC. Because of the success of the CPR training and everything like that, as Elizabeth alluded to, discussion, creating subcommittees, continue training, offering CPR training quarterly. So all good things there. And other things for next year, you know, communication and teamwork are definitely popular requests. And as already mentioned, healthier snacks. So
In addition, not instead.
in addition. So.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you all for investing in us and in this day. I know when you have budget discussions, your line item for personnel is always the most expensive part of the budget. And to me, I think that also means hopefully that we're your most valuable asset. And I appreciate that you invest this day in improving our work experience and our level of training. I really want to thank everybody for their hard work. Thank Clancy for negotiating the contract that was kind of outside of his normal work day and piled on to his workload a bit, but he jumped in and, had to deal with a big corporation to make this happen and got it done. So we appreciate that. And it was just, I had a good time. All of you guys did too. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Liz, did you get
I just wanted to say yes. So I just wanted to make sure the commissioners realize this is an employee-led work group or committee or whatever we would like to call it. So this year, both Vivian and Steve were the co-chairs. And obviously, I think we have the whole group here. Well, it's not a vast majority. So this is the group right now. We actually have a couple of people that are joining for 2024. And then moving forward, Tandy and Steve have decided to and agreed to be the co-chairs and lead the 2024 group. So I'm very excited and happy to hear that. And then I do have, on behalf of the commissioners, I have some cards for you all. So I will hand those out, and if you would like, any questions or anything.
One thing on the team building, especially some of the smaller departments, is what I heard. And not complain, but just comment that, like say we were one, I went with not just we, which was a very small group and nobody else was there. The big groups I can understand together, but you might try letting the smaller groups know, well, you're going to be the only one there. He said he'd like to have been with other groups. Because there's several departments that aren't, 5 or 6 people that we coordinate with others to meet other people better.
Mr. Buller shared that a couple of times. So
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
What did you guys think of the venue? Shall we?
Oh, yeah, it works well.
Okay, very good.
Subject to an acceptable lease agreement?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, it's not a motion or an action, but they will be the first.
Sounded very motionless.
All right. Thank you for letting me know. We will investigate them as a possible option for next year's meeting.
It won't be a mystery. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a mystery.
to figure out if we can get good leads.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Okay. All right, thank you so much.
And we can start fire.
Exactly. Give the names of those people who wanted to start. You know who that is.
Hey, got empty pretty quick.
Next commission, we just have joint city county at 4:00 at city offices.
Hosted by you.
Correct.
Need to adjourn after that, right?
Yeah. But you don't want to do.
Place our bets.
Yep. Ready for your bets, John?
$42.20. Okay.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Spread's 18.
No, just see what I put down.
Oh, really?
I can say it's almost the same. I had 45-14.
Catherine,
Well, I have 48-33.
Nancy,
40-18.
Oh.
About the same.
I had already written down Commissioner Ford 42-21.
Price is right me over here.
Like what I'm trying to do.
I had it written down here before at the first of the meeting, so yeah, that's why I laughed so hard.
One other thing I don't know if, because I got an email from the pause, the people running the
Yeah.
and their schedule, asked me about a meeting, and I said, need to come to a meeting. They've got a schedule. November 6th, they're going to be coming to meet with us. review what they do and what
Mhm.
they can do with the county.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got that and I referred it to Shelley,
Oh.
Clancy and Shelley, and because I know that they were working on the county thing. But,
She's working on the resolution, yeah.
yeah,
She hasn't been for a while.
Just to see what they want, what they're offering.
Should be a good opportunity.
we're been getting incrementally non-positive feedback from the community on answers they're getting when they're calling about animals in the rural
really?
areas. So we need to figure out something.
We've got an issue over in Wildcat Creek. Somebody's dumping animals over there
Where? Up in the township, you mean? Or what?
on Wildcat Creek Road.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's in my part of Wildcat Creek or yours.
You should have said it was in hers.
Yeah,
I don't, I'm being fair. Certain cultives actually in my district, we don't know where they're being dropped, but they're being dropped someplace over there, and it's happened about 3 times in the last couple of months.
Well, it's been, and they've been, it must be closer to scenic because we've been getting a lot in Annenberg Park, just
Mhm.
animals running loose and
Okay.
also in my neighborhood, running around just loose.
He tends to think, and I tend to agree with him, that they know that there's no policy in place and that's why they're doing it. Rotten human beings, anyway.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing to do, to dump animals out. That's just, it's been going on forever. I know it's not everywhere, but it's just a terrible thing.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we adjourn after this afternoon's joint city county USD 383 meeting, I'm gonna call it.
Yeah. I'll second.
So moved and seconded to adjourn after the city county meeting this afternoon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Rich, I need about